Okay, we're recording. Okay, my name is Peggy Davis, and I'm doing my chapter 3 through 5 response for Tom Mueller's COM 3302 class. So if you see me looking down, I've got tons of notes here that I'm just looking at. And I just wanted to say thanks for Chrissy for posting the chapter material on Facebook, because without you, I wouldn't be able to get the chapter done. My book's not here yet. But okay, so bear with me since this is the first video that we're doing, and I hope I get everything across that I need to. Sorry this isn't through Panopto, and I couldn't get that loaded, but it'll stick with good old YouTube, and I'm going to email it to you guys, and I might even post it on Facebook and let you guys look at it there. And if you have any questions or anything you want to ask me, go ahead and feel free to ask me there or via email, and I'll get back to you with my response. So, okay, let's start with Chapter 3. And Chapter 3 was Understanding Consumer Behavior. And it starts by talking about how the products are problem-solving items. And that means like clothes and makeup and snowboarding materials. And in my sense, that's what I would use it for. Also, like insurance. You don't use things that you won't need. So it's very rare that you actually spend money on products that you do need, like insurance. And, that's something that you do need. But like with clothes and makeup and all that stuff, you don't really need any of it. It's just a want. So it's because of social pressure and a goal just to fit in, which is pretty much what our society is today. They just want you to buy this product so you can fit in and use it to help your social status get to where you want it to be. So another thing I started talking about in the chapter was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is one of the things under my favorite parts of the chapter. I think Maslow is right on point when he was talking about what a consumer goes through mentally when they're talking about these products. And Maslow stated that the idea of the product can solve more than just one problem. So they're using these products for a multitude of different problems. And the first one was the physiological needs, hunger, thirst, warmth, etc., stuff like that, just to help you there. The other one is safety needs, which is like housing, clothing, financial, and physical security, which we all need that. Another one was the love and belongingness needs, which is social acceptance and personal intimacy, and I think that's the most popular one that we see today. Everyone wants to be accepted socially. Esteem needs, that's another part of the biggest ones. Feeling the adequacy and achievement or approval of our society, that was number 4. And self-actualization needs, which is help with one's highest or inner potential. And it's evident that anytime you look at advertising, almost always it intersects with Maslow's ladder. So every time you're looking at any part of advertising, at some point or another, it's going to cross through Maslow's ladder, which is it's going to be the physiological needs or safety needs, or the love and belongingness, the self-esteem, or the self-actualization. So I think, like I said earlier, Maslow was right on point with that. It's important to learn about the products you're advertising because you need to do your research. Like we talked about that in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 in class. You can't go take a test without studying for it first, and nor can you sell to a product to a consumer without actually knowing what they like and what they would want to need for their product. So you also need to study your competition. I mean, you don't want someone to compete against you that is way more advanced than you are. And if they are, you need to study what they're doing right. I mean, you gotta think about people's logos. And I think, like we talked about in class also too, you have Nike's logo, which is the Just Do It. It's very famous all over the world. They haven't had to change it. It's very prompt and it's right to the point. Let's see. The book also lists a shopping list of needs as a consumer, which is achievement, independence, exhibition, recognition, dominance, affiliation, nurturance, succurrence, sexuality, stimulation, diversion, novelty, understanding, consistency, and security. So that basically sums up a little about Chapter 3 and everything that the consumer has to look for. Basically talked a lot about Maslow. Chapter 4 is analyzing the marketplace. And I start out with a quote that stuck out in my mind. which is there is no future for products for everyone likes a little, only for products somebody likes a lot, which makes a lot of sense. To me, I'm very fashion minded and very, I don't know, very different when I think about products. Like, I'll give you an example. These type of bracelets right here, you're not going to see these pretty long because they're a fad. So when I say that that's like little people know about these things. So they'll be big for a little bit and then they're going to disintegrate because you're not going to see that very often. But if you see something like BMW or that type of brand, you know, everyone knows BMW. A lot of it's very, very known, very common, and a lot of people like that product. So that's probably going to stay along for a long time like it already has. Let's see. Fewer products today are sold by the total market approach, and that is by creating one product and one thought, and through one argument for all of humanity, meaning one size fits all, which is not our society today. One size does not fit all. Not all people like the same thing anymore, which is good for advertising because it gives us a little bit of adversity there. We get to change it up. But also, another thing to think about are the demographics, because they play a big role in the marketplace. You got to figure out where your market is and how you can sell to it, which usually by targeting the product category users. Marketers track demographics the way fishermen track schools of fish. I really like this analogy because fish where the fishing's good. It's another one. Consumer behavior and demographic data related to tell marketers where to drop their line. I mean, that's just basically saying, back to the fish where the fishing's good. You want to advertise where that product is going to be most popular because you're going to have the most sales. You're not going to go and try to sell MAC to 80-year-old women that don't wear makeup anymore. That's not where your fishing's good. You got to find out who your brand loyalty is through. You got to figure out where that is, where the customers are, what unites them, and what separates them from other customers. The buying behavior, which is the occasions, benefits, thought, and the usage rate, that's all going to differentiate. So buying behavior is a big thing. Figure out who buys what. You also want to speak the audience's language and think like a market segment. And by speak the audience's language, you want to think like they're thinking. So we're going to move on to Chapter 5, which is defining strategic approaches. Ads sell a product to a consumer. It can also now do it to this. That didn't make any sense. Ads sell a product to a consumer. It can also now do it this. Well, that's what I have written. But I guess what I mean by that is to sell to a product to a consumer, you have to do it to your best. You have to do it to the best of your ability and what you're prepared for. You want to be product oriented, and that started a whole nother segment in Chapter 5 where it's talking about a generic claim and sell the product category, not the brand. So you want to do that, and you're not necessarily trying to sell the brand, but you're going to sell that product. Product features, you want to sell the product feature and appeal to it to a reason. People are going to like different things, but you want to give them another reason why they like it more. A unique selling position, you want to sell a benefit unique to the brand. And positioning, you want to establish a distinct and desirable market price. And niche, if you have a different niche, you know where to sell. You want to definitely be consumer oriented because that's who's buying your product. I think my favorite thing about the whole thing that we have read through 5 is talking about the brand image. So create and sell a personality for the brand. That's different through everything. You see Burton, you see Mac, you see a lot of name brands and different things. You see Nike. Nike has created that on that brand with those vibrant tennis shoes that everyone knows who Nike is. You got to create a lifestyle. You got to associate the product with a way of life. So think about Nike. Just do it. You got to work out. You want to work out with those shoes, right? And you got to use a good attitude and associate the product with a state of mind. So you got to think about that. Make sure you ask yourself, is what you're doing working? And if your advertising isn't working, you got to think of a new way to reevaluate. And Dr. Mueller already discussed this, how to create a brand image. It's to study the image, ask what's the product or brand, and also my favorite thing he said was regard the product as a person, because I never thought about that before. You don't think of, the product as a person and what they would be like. He also said something about how we have to think about when you change your logo or your brand image, it's hundred thousands of dollars, like Coke or Pepsi, like with all their vending machines and whatnot. That's really crucial, I think, because once you change your logo, you're changing everything. You also have to take into consider the attitude, which is very important, like the attitude and brand of the company. You want to make sure you put good vibes out there and you're a good brand, and people are going to like you. So that basically sums up chapter 3 through 5. And like I said, there's a couple of things I liked. We're talking about the brand image, and I like Maslow's law of what he stated. I thought that was really interesting because he was right on point even way back then. And I didn't really have any dislikes with this chapter. I learned a lot, and it's a lot of stuff to think about. Wow, this is 32 minutes. But if y'all have any questions for me, or you want to ask me anything that I didn't seem to explain in depth, feel free to email me. Sorry if it was really long and I said a lot. But anyways, I hope y'all have a good evening, and I hope this was very beneficial to you.